IBAC is Victoria's anti-corruption body responsible for preventing and exposing public sector corruption and police misconduct. Following is a summary of 3 investigations conducted by IBAC concerning illicit drug use by Victoria police officers. IBAC's Operations Apsley, Hotham and Yarrowitch examined allegations of serious police misconduct in the use of illicit drugs. The operations highlighted broader systemic weaknesses in current Victoria police systems to detect and prevent such illicit drug use. In June 2015, IBAC commenced an investigation into an allegation that a police officer at a metropolitan station was trafficking and possessing drugs of dependence for their own personal use and to sell to other officers of Victoria Police. The investigation revealed an interconnected social network of sworn police officers and civilians, each suspected of using and in some cases trafficking illicit drugs. Operation Apsley was subsequently expanded to examine the conduct of these police officers. Operation Apsley obtained evidence involving 6 police officers in the use and possession of illicit drugs, and 4 police officers in trafficking drugs of dependence. 4 police officers returned positive drug tests for a range of drugs including cocaine, MDMA, and methamphetamine. 2 police officers had direct interaction with criminal drug traffickers, including a failure to declare these associations with these individuals to Victoria Police. The investigation resulted in the dismissal of 1 officer and the resignation of 2 others from Victoria Police. 1 has been admonished by Victoria Police and allowed to return to work, and 2 are suspended awaiting criminal and/or disciplinary proceedings. 1 officer was charged with inciting a witness to mislead IBAC during Operation Apsley, and another was charged by Victoria Police in relation to drug offences. Operation Apsley was one of IBAC's most intensive and complex investigations of Victoria Police personnel misconduct. The operation utilised a broad range of IBAC's investigative and other powers to uncover and investigate allegations of multiple police officers involved in the use, possession and trafficking of illicit drugs. Commencing in October 2014, Operation Hotham was an own-motion investigation that also investigated the alleged use, possession and trafficking of illicit drugs by police officers. The investigation centred on allegations a serving police officer was involved in using and trafficking illicit drugs, assisting and protecting drug suppliers. The investigation found the officer was a user of illicit drugs and was closely associated with people involved in significant criminal activity. There was also evidence the officer protected an associate from law enforcement attention. The officer who was the subject of Operation Hotham resigned while awaiting a disciplinary hearing. IBAC commenced an own-motion investigation, Operation Yarrowitch, in January 2016, concerning a police officer who had been the subject of 2 previous complaints relating to alleged use of illicit drugs. IBAC reviewed the investigations by Victoria Police's Professional Standards Command and identified additional lines of inquiry that could be pursued. Operation Yarrowitch established that a brother of the officer was involved in the use and trafficking of illicit drugs, and that the officer was at the very least aware of his drug use. IBAC investigators executed a search warrant on the private residence of the officer and found quantities of cocaine and MDMA, allegedly belonging to the officer's brother, and seized electronic devices. The officer tested positive for the illicit drug ketamine. Private examinations were also conducted. The officer denied under oath using drugs while a police officer. When presented later with evidence to the contrary, the officer made admissions to illicit drug use while a serving police officer. IBAC has charged the officer with making a false or misleading statement to IBAC and 4 counts of perjury in relation to evidence given during the private examinations. IBAC has recommended the Chief Commissioner of Victoria Police undertake a comprehensive review of the use of illicit drugs by Victoria Police officers, as well as associated policies, systems and practices to reduce the likelihood of police officers engaging in illicit drug activity. This review should consider the development of a clear policy on the use of illicit drugs and the consequences of such use by officers with reference to contemporary best practice, strengthening recruitment processes and policies to more effectively identify and manage risks, examining the adequacy of the current drug testing regime and how it can be improved. The review should also consider improving training and communication to clearly and regularly reinforce Victoria Police's position and response to illicit drug use by its officers, ensuring appropriate welfare and support arrangements for officers who appear to be using illicit drugs, including those who voluntarily disclose their use of illicit drugs. The Chief Commissioner of Victoria Police has welcomed the report, advising that it accepts the recommendations made by IBAC and is committed to reviewing current policies and practices regarding drug use, recruitment and drug testing. Victoria Police is required to submit to IBAC a progress and final report on the development and implementation of a more robust framework to prevent and detect police illicit drug use. The progress report is due 30 June 2017 and the final report is due 30 June 2018. To download a copy of the report, visit www.ibac.vic.gov.au. Also, subscribe to IBAC Insights on the website to get latest news and events, heads up on new reports, expert commentary, early research findings, invites to training and information sessions.